insane. Like to watch those M1 armored battles and know that like, well, the blades aren't really that sharp and they're not really trying to kill each other. And there's only 2 of them fighting and not like 50 people. Like the immense violence and horror that those people experienced is unimaginable. Seriously. And people like cry today over their like fucking latte being wrong.
You misgender them.
You know, oh, you misgendered me. And it's ma'am. And you know, like 3,000 years ago, people with battle axes and shit were trying to cut your head off. Like
for misgender.
Ma'am.
Pop was in fucking Panama back in the day. He dropped him into there.
Yeah, I jumped. I jumped into Panama on December 10th or December 20th, 1989.
Hey, Pop, how's it going there?
Doing good there,
yeah,
Thor.
Thor's the only other one you haven't met.
We met.
Yeah, I've met Thor before.
Oh, yeah, we spent a few moments at the CME a few years ago.
Oh, you were down at the CME as well. Well,
Yeah.
dude, you know everybody who's anybody then. I guess that makes sense. You've been around forever.
Pop's a good dude, man. I had a good time with you. That was good to see you again.
Do you know what I called him? I called him the Sidney Poitier of the Manosphere. I don't know. It's like such a weird reference, but like back in the day, you guys know who he is, right? Black actor.
Yeah.
I think he was part of the Rat Pack. Anyways, they always used to say, if you couldn't hire Sidney Poitier, write the role for a white guy. And I remember when you first started coming out, there was no Rolo, there was no Fresh and Fit. There was just you and your whiteboard, and then is it going to be a black shirt day or a red shirt day?
Yep.
And that was it. And I don't think you understand how much influence you've had over like men online talking about sex and relationships and all that stuff, because everybody has taken a piece of that. There's the whaminate shit, redonkulous, you know, but there's so much of it. I have like a satire series that I do just to make fun of the tropes. Then there's like you on the whiteboard going through your listicle of like 25 reasons your wife's a bitch. Am I right? They're usually funnier than that, but I mean, you can't outdo him.
What happens when you get into a fight and how much it costs you when you fight for your girl?
Yeah. I want to start off. I want you to run your mouth. There's one video of yours. I remember. I know you fucking made it, and I cannot find it. It was you did a calculation of a 10-year marriage versus somebody hiring a prostitute for.
Oh yeah, whole versus ex-wife.
That's the one. I've been trying to find that one.
Well, YouTube is taking a lot of those down, and you know.
Yeah, he said the FAG word. And the first video I've ever saw of you, and I'm just like, whoa, that was 6 years ago. So
fag?
Yeah.
There we go.
Oh, it's fine. One of us is British. It's a bundle of sticks and a cigarette.
True. The British cigarette.
That was my morning greeting. When I would come in onto the floor, I'd open the door like at 8:30 in the morning, and I'd be like, "What's up, faggots?" And then everyone that was there would sound off from their office, and I knew who was there that day and who wasn't.
Well, that's so awesome. It's nice.
Legendary.
I wish we could see.
How much of that one do you remember that they took down? Because it really is my favorite, but I cannot remember it. That's why I tried to find it.
Oh wow. You know, we're talking.
I'm putting you on the spot.
I know we have an archive channel. It might still be on there. Because like stuff that we got yelled at for or a strike for, were put on the archive channel, and they don't even fuck with it anymore.
Oh, all right. I do remember the one thing I do remember is the math checked out, where it was actually cheaper. Like cheaper to keep her was a lie, and that's the hiring the.
Oh fuck yeah! Prostitute all day long.
Well,
all day long.
It's even better than that because now that OnlyFans is out, because this was before OnlyFans was a thing, and there's this old red pilled post from this guy called Whisper. I don't know, you probably never heard of him. He was one of the guys blogging while you were doing your thing, and he was kind of getting weirded out how guys are getting so mad at OnlyFans when it's essentially dropped the bottom out of the sex market at this point. Like a girl who's got a great set of jugs on her, willing to put out, it's worth about the price of a coffee.
So what
not
you're
even
saying,
a frappuccino.
What you're saying is these women on OnlyFans are the illegal immigrants of sex.
They're the El Paso Mexican river crossers, yes. But you know what I mean? Like, as a guy, you look at this and you think, what does that mean? Well, that means it's a buyer's market. Like, if You don't have to put out like I don't. You remember the '80s where you had to put a lot more work into getting laid than you probably would nowadays.
Well, now a lot of the women you run across who are like older than 38, it's the equivalent of you being stupid enough to eat gas station sushi. You're just asking for a butt worm or a ring of fire or some other fucked up shit that you're never gonna get rid of. It's not worth it.
Did I not tell you guys he's worth it? Do you see now why I cuss like a sailor? Because I'm like, dude, I could be so much worse.
Well, I have from my head injury, I guess I have a form of bad word Tourette's. I try like to not swear. I really do, and it's hard.
I feel your pain, man. When I got through with this brain surgery, they gave me this anti-seize medicine, and the number one side effect was Tourette's, and I got it. It felt so good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel your pain.
Ranch. Cussing comes with the territory, whatever.
Yeah, and it's one of the main. It's several reasons why I'm single still. Is one, terrible spelling. I'm a dyslexicist. Automatic spell check. And then most of the women out there are just walking, talking, womalos. And I lost my my filter. So if they talk to me and I literally like, hey, how you doing? Uh-huh. Is that a billboard on your arm, or is that just a score count for all the dicks you had run through you?
Jesus.
Beautiful.
Well, that kind of question. It was like an hour from now then about your 7-year. Do you remember the 7-year hiatus you were taking after the?
Fuck yeah, that was actually one of the best decisions I ever made.
Like how so?
Well, because solitude is addictive. You actually get into your peace, and you're like, you get up in the morning, like, okay, I don't have to hear bitching about leaving the toilet seat up. Okay, that's cool. All right, I have my own car. Oh, look at that. There's no goddamn calendar sabotage. I can do whatever the fuck whenever I want without having to explain it to anyone else.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to tell you that 30 seconds of oh baby at the end of the actual act, is that worth fucking, all the walking around on eggshells, and then when they get mad, you got to crawl through broken glass to try to get them unmad? I mean, fuck that. It's not worth it.
I was just about to ask Pop, like, did you still go for non-dating, or like, are you back in the field again every now and then? But I think this answers the question where it's like,
no, I was dating a widow because I don't mess with single mothers. Widows they don't ask for their circumstances, and it literally unplayed just as I had anticipated, because these women have so many cocks run through them that they can't pair bond. And people laugh. I'm totally serious here.
Yeah.
And right around 18 months, you start getting the comments, alluding to things you should change. And then right around 2-year mark, they're done. They're burned out. They're looking for that next banana to swing to. And it literally unfolded like clockwork. Right around 24 months, I got the, you're an asshole, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, okay. Well, here's the door.
It's one of the biggest pieces of advice a lot of guys get, because they're always like, oh, you got to settle down and marry right away. Like, Nuke, you got into a lot of shit with this over a bunch of
Yeah, that was a big dust up.
Yeah, like, wait a year or two before you commit, because you're going to have a mask on, and you wait, and they can't keep it up forever.
Yeah.
That saved me a number of times in my single period, just making them wait, like having that number. Yeah, we're just going to date for a year
or two,
see if they can handle it.
And like every year, I find out something that I have to vet women for that I didn't know before. Like last year, I had to vet women for genetic diseases, right? Because they don't tell you that stuff. They're like, hey, this runs in my family. This could make our kids, really, ruin our kids' lives if we have a kid.
Are you talking about like Downy stuff, or
just
there's
like
all kinds of things.
Like heart disease. Like there's heart conditions where they won't be able to exercise. Like they won't be able to break a sweat. They'd have to walk.
That's real.
Autoimmune
Said
disease.
that they were lazy.
Yeah, no. And it's just like every year as you grow, as I get more mature as a man, I'm just like, man, there's just more. You're inviting chaos into your life, and you're trying to make sense of this chaos. and all these bad decisions. But I think around 6 months, a fully red pill dude that is like his own point of origin is just dating. About 6 months is when you start to see, besides everything else, like the really obvious stuff, you start to see like the debt, the genetic diseases, the real family problems that could be your problem soon. That's when you start really seeing it. And then that's why I tweeted the other day, hey, give it 6 months, right? She could be a great gal, but at least, give yourself 6 months, because even though she's a great gal, people make mistakes and people do dumb stuff that could be your problem for the rest of your life.
I already covered this subject years ago in a video called The String Along Method.
Oh, yes.
Which is, I don't remember the masterpiece of the Ring Bluff 1 and the Ring Bluff 2. There you go.
Yeah. No, I knew a guy who dated a girl for like over a year. They're talking about marriage, whatever, and then like they're already engaged when he finds out that she's infertile. Like she got sick from partying one night in college and kidney shut down and losing the ovaries or whatever. And it's like, oh well, that would have been nice to know a year and a half ago before this process started.
For most HPV too. Once a girl gets like HPV 4 or 5 times in her life, she's infertile. She's done.
The biggest disease that burns women's egg factories out is chlamydia.
Really?
It's gonorrhea light. It's kind of like gonorrhea but less calories. But as it goes along, it scars the shit out of the fallopian tubes, so they quit working.
Oh, and that's when they find out from the pap smear and that later. Yeah.
And it wasn't because she drank too much at a party and had a kidney something or other. I mean, that is possible, but that doesn't really affect the ovaries. Whatever affected her ovaries was getting her pussy scrubbed out by 1,000 mushroom heads.
Yeah, just getting over 35 years old reduces their fertility by like a factor of 2.
Oh, a lot.
Dude, I
more
feel
than
so
that.
bad for the guy who's like used to this show being good, and he listens to it on his phone with like the speaker on in like a library or something.
But isn't that already over
scraping?
Isn't that already over 30, not 35? I thought that happened way sooner.
It may.
80% of the eggs are gone.
Yeah.
So I read this book about what do you call it when the environment affects your health, your outside health?
Oh,
exogenetics.
Something like that, yeah.
Epigenetics, maybe?
Epigenetics.
Yeah, epigenetics, there you go. So apparently, in order to have a healthy baby, like a fully healthy baby, a woman needs to start getting healthy 2 years before the pregnancy, right? And that's another thing. Like, if a girl was drinking, partying, smoking vape, smoking weed, doing drugs, all these things, and then all of a sudden she wants a baby out of nowhere, like, that's another thing. Like, you are now putting your future children at risk because your wife didn't do anything health-wise to take care of herself, right? These are things I just read, and I'm just like, wow, like it really is a gamble.
The marshmallow test is still like one of the best things out there. You guys know that one, right? Mm-hmm. Where they put that marshmallow in front of the kid, they leave the room, like, I'll come back in 10 minutes if there's a marshmallow put to, and like 80% of the kids eat the marshmallow and don't get the second one.
Impulse control.
Well, yeah, it's not even, and it's just like, who's incentivizing it for women to have impulse control? They're told, you're the best, everything is great. Here, you like the event. Your boyfriend likes the Avengers. Let's make you the Avenger.
Well, that impulse control. But when these women get over 18, that marshmallow is a penis.
Yes.
I was trying to infer it subtly. But yes.
They get and they actually get rewarded for eating the first, marshmallow or penis by getting a whole stack of penises. And then before you know it, you're dealing with, the dick stacking test with a platform somewhere near suborbit.
A bag of dicks for them is irresistible, Pop.
It is. I'm glad you guys find this amusing. This is absolutely true.
It's terrifying. That's why we have to laugh at it's dark humor.
The whole reason we made this podcast is because you can't talk about this anywhere. And if you try, you'll end up with some autist who hasn't experienced anything, any love issues whatsoever, and he talks about it in the abstract.
Yeah.
It'd be like you talking to some dude about your range.
Like a bag
he's
of
like,
sand.
yeah, well, in Call of Duty. Actually, yeah. 50 cal. We were showing a tour in a Tiger Cruise. Some little kid's talking about the gun with like, oh, and this and this and this. And one of the bosons looks up. He's like, wow, how do you know so much? He goes, oh, I play Call of Duty. And then that moment right there, he's like, fuck out of here, kid. But there's like, as much as it sucks, like Whammon ain't shit right now. There's so many guys that just have not engaged in this at all. They only know it because somebody told them. And if they're lucky, they hear it from guys like you, 5. And if they're not lucky, they'll hear it from some guy who just like, if I say this stuff, I could be the next Logan Paul on YouTube. Steals Pop's top 10 list, makes it with an anime avatar in the bottom corner, and, you know, success.
Top red pill content creators by ranked.
Well, there's the red pill creator, the wall. He stole some of my sound effects. I think that's hilarious.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, tell me
It's
he's
flattery.
not doing,
He's
like,
imitating,
butt
right?
photos.
Yeah. Listen, my primary mission is to save dudes from killing themselves. And if people want to copy me, I don't care.
What's your number up to, Pop? How many tags you got?
543.
Oh, it's gone up. Awesome.
Yeah. Excellent.
It's crazy, isn't it?
We started reading them on the air about somewhere in the 250s because I knew at some point people are like, you're a liar. That never happened.
No,
And,
he had a whole bag at the CME, and for those that don't know, they're a dog tag for every guy that decided not to self-delete and reached out to him.
Yep.
So, good job.
I call it my ransom.
Yeah. Get this bag. What's that?
See, I don't know if I want to add one more to your list or not, because your video administrative violence was my saving grace. I don't know if it would have gone that far. Is there like a secondary list of guys like I didn't save their life, but I definitely did help it at the bottom?
No, I don't know. I get a lot of gratitude videos in regards to the administrative violence. I got, like, when I first released it, I had like 4 or 5 attorneys tell me that, you know, I was absolutely horrible. I'm setting all these people up to get, you know, go to prison and get sued. And I'm like, you know what? Go fuck yourself. You know, you can go ahead, drag me into court. All I am telling these guys to do is the same thing you guys do, which is, you know, conduct yourself unethically.
Yeah.
That's
well,
it.
not even unethically, to the letter of the law, without regard for what's right.
Yeah.
Because that was it. Because for me, that was the same thing. I don't know if you know, like, another Canada story about how shitty we are. We had a Russian spy about 10 years ago, Jeffrey Delisle. And you know the military, once one thing goes wrong, everybody panics and drives everything to 12 and then slowly walks it back.
We call him
after they
Flail
found
of the
him,
nuclear navy.
everybody was a spy. AWOL, oh, working for the Russians. And I got swept up in that and charged with espionage. And your video came out, I think, a month prior, which was the greatest thing, because I had that moment where I finally went cold because, like, my unit back home decided not to give a shit. They're like, oh, you must have been really bad off. Sorry about that, man. It's like after a divorce where all your friends decide to take your wife's side. I just went cold and I just followed down your list, got back into the QRNOs, and here I was 2 years later. Dude, here's one thing. It'll make you proud. It's not dog tag proud, but it's kind of proud. So after I had to escalate this all the way to the Ottawa Jags, like all the way to Washington, right? And he looked at it. He looked at all the evidence. Like, they had he threw the whole thing out. He's like, this is ridiculous. Why are you wasting my time? You've spent 14 months, like, shit or get off the pot. And they already had me, like, punishment without due diligence, all that kind of shit, right? So he had sent that letter to me. I framed it, put it on my desk when they brought me back to the office.
Nice.
And it was hilarious because all of the officers would walk in and, like, make an effort to pretend they're not seeing it. And every, like, old crusty chief walked in, gave me a pat on the back. It was the funniest shit ever. And it was like, yeah, thanks to you, man.
Oh,
It was
thank you,
petty,
man.
though. It was so petty.
So, hey, Pop, I have a question. So we all know that divorce, you know, it messes men up. Obviously, we talked about that. But what about false Me Too accusations? Because when I was in the Navy, I was living with one of my best friends, who he got Me Too'd by his girlfriend, and it was when he was in college. And the women that were friends with his girlfriend came forward to testify against her, and that was the only reason he got off. But the university said, you're innocent, but we're still kicking you out. He had a full scholarship to play football. He was a football star. He lost it all. Then he decided to join the Navy, and that's where we met. But what I noticed when I was living with him, he never brought girls over. He had female friends and stuff, but he never brought girls over and all that stuff. And I feel like that's something that men also, it traumatizes men too, like the false
yeah.
one too. Like you stay away from women for years because you're just, it's like it's so ingrained in you to stay away from women. Like he would
It's
never in 3
dangerous.
years that we lived together, not one chick. Wouldn't bring one chick.
It's too dangerous.
Yeah.
It's literally, you're taking the risk when you bring a woman to your house or you go to her house, and you don't know after it's done and when you walk out the front steps if you're going to see the taxi cab or the goddamn stake they're going to burn you at. And I actually had a Me Too situation as well. I mean, it wasn't quite, didn't involve any D to PC. It stands for Dick to Pussy Contact. And I had a new first lieutenant show up. I got bounced out of my office, so I packed all my shit and went to like another shittier office. And I really don't care. It's not like it's an ego thing. For women, it is. But I left behind one of those tear off calendars, right? Well, one of my troops was fucking with me, and like I don't know, he drew a penis on one of the days. So about 2 weeks later, she comes storming into my office, and she's got it. She's like, "What is this? What is this?" And I'm like, "Well, man, that looks like a rudimentary picture of a penis." And she's like, "Well, what did you need this here?" And I'm like, I didn't do it. She's like, "I need the names of who did it." And I'm like, "Listen, I don't know who did it. I can suspect who did it, but I'm a fucking E7 here. Why don't you let me handle it, and this will never happen again?" And then she says, "You and I, we're going to have a problem." And she storms out. I had the entire thing on video because I keep that nanny cam shit because I did a administrative violence, working man survival guide. So about 3 weeks later, I get called up to the battalion commander's office. There's the sergeant major, my first sergeant. Everyone's ready to fucking read me the riot act and try to get me kicked out of the service. And right in the middle, I'm like, hold up. I got something to clear this whole thing up. So I'm like, I had already had all of the counseling statements and witness statements from several other people. I don't remember who they were. Go back to my office, burn the DVD, come back in, put it into the actual, computer, and with sound. And I'm like, this is what occurred on said day. There was no, I didn't say any derogatory terms. I didn't, wasn't disrespect. The whole laundry list of shit was about 6 or 7 accusations long. And as soon as they saw that, you literally saw it, like, everyone go from like an 11 to like a 1 because they knew it was complete bullshit. And they're like, "Well, this has been resolved." And I'm like, "Oh no, you don't know the popster. No.
You don't fuck with the pop.
You get in the ring and you ring the bell. I only have 2 speeds: stop and destroy. This is going all the way to the Department of Defense IG. I'm gonna get as many of you motherfuckers thrown out of the service as I can. This is not good for unit cohesion." And they try to do the la la la, and of course they're officers, so I have to just sit there. And after it was dismissed, I'm like, same course of action, pre-prepared for bad news. I involved my congressman, my senator. I contacted the DOD IG, and one of the reasons you do that is you go all the way to the top, and they will send it to the lowest level IG. But now you have everyone in between knows it's going on, so you can't sweep it under the rug.
Yeah, never be the lowest guy with the secret. Yeah.
Yeah, and that first lieutenant, she got a rehabilitative transfer to Chicago. So, and I ran into her a couple of years later after she's out of the service, and she's holding a baby, and she tried to talk to me, and I said, "Ma'am, if you weren't holding that child, you'd go to the hospital."
Damn.
That's a sweet line. That's right up there. It's good. It goes with your John Wick origin story. Oh yeah, did I say that off camera? I told you guys, like, I was gonna ask you. I guess I'll do it. We'll do the theatrics here. What's it like knowing that you were John Wick 5 years before they come up with John Wick?
Well, let's see. My ex-wife killed that dog like in 2006. So when did John Wick come out?
I want to say it was 2011.
Yeah, so you might be right. Yeah, maybe they took my story. I don't know.
I like it, but let's make it more Keanu, Bill and Ted.
Yeah. So what happened with that? is, I found out that my ex-wife was getting more wood ran through her than a wood chipper. It was unrecoverable. So I filed for divorce. Luckily, my paperwork got to the judge about 30 minutes. Well, mine was dated 30 minutes prior to hers being filed by her attorney. So they went with mine. And my divorce papers, like, you can live in the house, you pay your portion of the bills.
Very amicable.
Very amicable. See, I at that time I didn't like truly hate my ex-wife. I was disgusted with her, but I was, I knew it was done. I leave for 3 weeks. I come back and my 6-year-old chocolate Labrador retriever is gone. And I asked her about it, and she literally looked me in the face and said, "I told you I did not want you living here." She really wanted me to just like tool her up. And I'm a former professional fighter. I'm going to I'm not going to the baloney's wop the floor jail. I'd be going to the pump you in the ass prison.
Yeah.
So I did an about face. I walked out and I left for about 10 days. Told my attorney. We tried to bring it up in court. Didn't fucking matter. Now, if she had like one of those fucking shaking piss dogs and I disappeared that thing, I'd be fucked.
Oh, dude, PETA would be up your ass. It's illegal. They call it animal abuse.
Yeah, and fuck them. It is what it is. But in the grand scheme of things, I was there, man. I was at that point where I was literally just ready to start erasing people, and I
know.
decided
well, you
that
wrote about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's your book, Warrior Souls.
Well,
you guys,
it's part of the book.
I got to put a link for the chat.
It was a Labrador. Jesus Christ, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I know. It's like, could you pick like a more friendly breed of dog?
Yeah,
like a
the
shitty or
friendliest
something.
breed of all
Like-
dogs.
Beagle,
Yeah.
Beagle may be the.
And here's the fucked up part: is she bought the dog for me as a surprise. I didn't even want a dog, and I'm like, all right. And then little did I know, 6 years later, she'd disappear him the same way. And I got 3 different stories. And we've seen enough crime drama on TV to know what happens when the story changes. It's never a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the John Wick story. Instead of killing a bunch of people, I saved a bunch of people with the same anger and hatred.
Yeah, do it for the puppers. You'd actually be surprised. Well, actually, you wouldn't, but audience, you'd be surprised. Do you know, if you ever go on Facebook Marketplace, the amount of women who, once they have a family, decide they don't need surrogate child anymore, putting their 14-year-old dog up for adoption? Like, imagine, because when you take a dog on, everybody knows it's a life. That's your dog for life.
Yep.
Unless you're
Yeah,
being
it's very
deployed and you have to
painful
give it
when you
to a
lose
friend
it.
or something like that. Yeah, girls, it's my pupper, it's my fur baby, and then all of a sudden a real baby happens. They're like, get rid of these fucking dogs. And my girl hates it because she goes on there as like a hate watch, and she just looks for all the people selling old dogs on Facebook Marketplace so she can get mad. I don't blame her. I don't know what it is.
Do you
But
guys remember Craigslist?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
All right. Back in the day when they had the personal section in Craigslist, and this is a sick, twisted form of my therapy. I used to go to the Craigslist for New York City and Los Angeles, and I would find these like long laundry lists of these women who are in their like late 30s or 40s or older of what they want in their next man. And I would just rip them apart. I'd be like, you are a walking womalo. And you want to have this long ass list. You are on Craigslist, the bottom of the barrel. How about you say, I would like a warm, non-diseased penis. that would work out a lot better. And I would get in these fights with these women, and it was glorious. Oh, comedy gold, man.
Yeah. See, Nuke, even your Twitter fights, he was doing it 10 years before.
Yeah. Yeah, what's old is new. What's new is old, I guess.
But here's the thing, man, is I am so happy that there's a lot of men out there who are following my lead and doing the same shit I was doing, because I'm tired of burying you guys over stupid shit.
Yeah, I almost had to bury a couple of my friends, but thank God, it's really bad, especially in the nuclear Navy, because we're so stressed and we don't have a lot of the tools to to de-stress and all that stuff. And my best friend, he went through administrative violence, right? He caught a girl making out with my chief in our little fitness room that we built ourselves, right? And then the girl was a huge bitch. If she was at least a nice chick, they would have been like, hey, I didn't see this, I'm running away. But he went and told my LPO, and my LPO went down there and said, both of you to the office. And she got masted. She got half times pay for 2 months, you know, the whole thing, right? And then he got sent away because he was an East 7. So, you know, he's a chief. He's kind of protected. And then she made it everyone's problem that she was hooking up with our chief. And she went after this guy saying, oh, he only wanted my position and all that. And you know, it really stressed him out because now there was like 2 factions who believed her for some reason and who believed him. And he was my best friend. And every day he would sit down with me, would tell me his wife problems, because he had a wife, which he loved very much. And he was like my friend, right? And one day his brother died, and he was already dealing with all this administrative violence and, you know, all that. And one day I got a call from my other chief saying, hey, you need to come in. You know, I'm not gonna say his name, but so and so is out. And I'm like, okay, what happened? Did he have a family emergency? Get sick? He's just like, we'll talk about it later. Then I started I was afraid. So I took the night shift from him. And then it wasn't until 2 days later I found out that he had tried to off himself, right? And this guy was totally fine a couple of days before. So
you can't, a lot of times with men, you can't see it on them.
Yeah.
Like, and men don't do the you know, suicide for attention shit.
Yeah, no. We just do it.
When men are done, they're like, I am done. That's it.
Yeah. I'm done. It's the only question is if it's anybody coming with them.
Well, there's a rule with this, okay? If you cause or make a mess, people love you less. So if you're gonna do something crazy like that, you know, be respectful. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, but
all I can think of is, same as this. When my early days, when I was just talking with the other guys and we're sharing stories, the one guy's brother, he went in front of the wife in her house and did it there as like this'll teach you. Look what you did. You know what she did? She milked that shit for all the sympathy it was worth. That's right. Like the worst, like that. She'll bring a date to your funeral. You know that quote? Rolla does that quote.
Yeah.
For me, that's my big thing. It's like, look, you could go this way if you want to, but just be aware. Like, it's not going to help. It's not going to change. Everybody's just going to use it. And in the same way they would use, like, you working forever so she can be a stay-at-home mom. And then, what's the thing, John? Wait until she gets the alimony payment. Like, she gets that threshold. Like your ex did. The time in order to get the pension. Yeah. Military service for women is like it's like marriage. Be jaded those last 3 years when you're just waiting for the pension to kick in.
Well, let's just call alimony what it is. It's Alice isn't horny any more money. That's it.
She is. She's just not horny for you.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, we're going with the Steve.
Somebody's talking about an interesting theory that alimony and a lot of the divorce process is actually a process to prevent the man from continuing on like building family. It prevents him from easily like moving on to another relationship and building another family. It keeps him like subservient to the ex because has to keep working to pay the alimony. He has to keep working to pay the child support. He's not going to be able to have enough money to start a new family or have a new relationship or a new girlfriend or wife. So he gets stuck in this provider role without much option of creating a new family.
You're turned into a financial slave. You're absolutely correct. And this whole subservient thing to your ex-wife, no, I didn't play that game at all.
No, I don't know.
Once my divorce was final, it was only text or email. My policy was very firm. If I can't print it up on a printer or subpoena it into court, it does not happen.
Yep.
And I got a couple
you're
calls.
Built different though.
Well, my ex-wife was the type 1 diabetic.
No, see, I'm the same. I'm the same. I was like, there's no reason. Like, I don't work for you. There's no reason for us to communicate other than, organizing drop-offs and pickups for the kids and things with the kids. And then I know how manipulative she is. So I was like, I am not having a verbal conversation with you because you'll hear only what you want to hear. And then
correct.
you know, and I won't be able to show what was actually said. So I was like, nope. It's like, I don't really want to exchange pleasantries. I don't want to say hi. I don't want to talk to your family. It's like, we are no longer together. Leave me the hell alone. They still try to like talk up and pretend they're like nice people though. Hi, how are you? And all this bullshit. I'm just like,
they flip the script where it's like, why are you so mean to me? Did
exactly.
You forget
I'm like,
all the-
motherfucker. I was like, I've forgiven you. I was like, for what? Like, you're the motherfucker.
for
that, like,
how you're berating me.
like,
You're forgiving
yeah,
me.
exactly.
Like,
It's
oh
like,
wow,
what the
like,
fuck? Like, you're the shitty people. You're the shitty people, not me.
You
Like,
made
leave
this.
thank
know,
you
it's
for
like the shit,
forgiving
the
your
group,
own
the
behavior
people
towards
is like,
me.
oh, we're so nice and kind and like, hey, like, man,
All
like
right, gentlemen.
we had our trial coming up in April or whatever in Vegas, and my ex's parents, I guess, they moved to Vegas, and they came in to visit over a weekend, and we're at the football game, and they come to talk to me, and I'm just like, leave me alone. And they're like, oh yeah, when you're out for Vegas for the trial, you can come and stay with us. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you people? What is wrong with you people? Like,
But
I don't touch my shoulder. Like, get away from me. Like, and I have to keep my mouth shut because I don't want to yell at them, because then all the kids and parents are going to look at me funny. And it's like, I'm the asshole. I'm the asshole because I'm not just like, yeah, you guys fucked me over and lied to me and fucked my life up. Give me a hug.
Turn
Aren't you
the other
such nice
cheek.
people? It's
Yeah,
just
but-
the most bizarre. It's the most bizarre mind fuck.
But
But
the
to go
thing
through
is,
this.
is
And like,
once you
they're the
start,
normal ones, and I'm
once
the
you
bad
d-
guy. It's so
Yeah.
weird.
once you start the divorce process, you will find out who is your friend and who is not.
Oh, 100%.
And I'm telling you right now, like the way it is with me, I have no family now.
Damn.
I have
Oh,
no
they
family
turn
other
that
than
bad,
my
huh?
mother. Once my mother passes away, they're gone. I'm done. I wrote off about 85% of my friends. You know,
That's
I
what
asked
ends
her,
up fucking up a lot of the guys. It's
Yeah.
not that their wife leaves them; it's the friends and family that take her side.
yeah, and if that's the case, like I've always been the stand-up guy. I never lied to nobody. I try to do the right thing, and then I have people fucking stabbing me in the back, and literally I cut them out of my fucking life because you have to do it for your own sanity and for the healthy services of your own soul.
Yeah, there's this weird thing about like, oh no, you have to like accept all these shitty people and be nice to them and keep them in your lives. I'm just like, no,
No, you don't.
no, you don't. It's like it's a big world. There's a lot of people out there that I haven't met and haven't fucked me over, and maybe my life will be better if I spend time around them or by myself.
You're better off by yourself, man.
If you have people around you who won't like reach out a hand to help or whatever when they see you struggling, like, I don't really need you around. Like, what good are you?
Yeah.
Well, that's how it works, right? For a lot of guys, until your friend is in a position where he could fuck you over and doesn't, you never know if you can trust him. That's all of my best friends. We have enough information to bury each other, and we just don't because we'd rather have the friendship. That's how you build trust.
That's right.
It can be tough too to be that supportive friend because your friend is so shattered, man. It was a challenge because my best friend, he's still my best friend now. He lives in Texas. He got divorced right before an 8th-month deployment, and that's rough, right? Because
Jesus.
and he had just had his second little girl, so he has 2 girls, and he just left for 8 months, right? And we met, we became really good friends and all that stuff. And it's just so strange to see that, like, as he opens up to you more and more, how calm and relaxed about the whole thing he was, but you knew something was up. And it came to a point where one day I was in my office and he had sent me some really sad song lyrics, right? And I was like, oh, that's funny. But then I thought, oh, this might be a suicide note. So I ran up to where he was at and I like grabbed him by the shoulder. I'm like, dude, are you all right? He's like, yeah, what's up? It was just like, oh, nothing. I'm just want to make sure
It was
you're
a Drake
okay.
lyric. I thought something was wrong.
Yeah, exactly. I think it was
that is why I make the videos.
yeah,
Because a lot of guys they're not equipped to have that kind of conversation with their best friend. You're like, hey, wait a minute, I got a video you need to watch. And then if he starts laughing a little bit, then you're putting the fuse out on the powder keg.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't want to lose your friend, man. That because it like being supportive of your friends that are going through this kind of stuff, it's tougher. And I think there should be more stuff out there like your stuff to like, hey, what to do if your friend is going through a divorce? How do you, and it would have helped me because I had a lot of friends that were on the edge, and all I could do was like, hey, let's go out, let's have a beer, or hey, let's want to come over, let's play some video games or something, you know. And I think all men need is just time. Yeah, just time around a dude that gives a shit about them. We don't even have to talk about our problems. Just hey, let's just.
Man, when I first got separated, divorced, and I got my apartment downtown San Jose, like I used to go out just by myself just to be out and around because I wasn't used to having kids around and whatever. And one night I was out there, had on my cardigan, looking sharp, having a nice Japanese whiskey at the bar, and another guy was out by himself, and he was wearing a cardigan too. So we started out a conversation. Thought it was funny, and he was out because like his friend just killed himself, like that week, and he was that guy was like had a kid, and the girl left him, and he was devastated by it, and offed himself. And then he had just gone through a breakup too that was similar, didn't lose kids or whatever, but like so he was on the edge, and he was just out by himself because he didn't know what else to do. And we just sat and we talked for a while, and that came up, and then we hang out like one more time after that, but we text back and forth every once in a while. We follow each other on some social media or whatever, but like he checked in every once in a while. And I think just like being an outside person who like experienced divorce or loss or whatever was enough to like help.
Knowing you're not knowing that you are not the only one getting pumped in the ass by the legal system goes a long way. Because if you think it's only you and everyone's against you, man, I mean that gets that's a rough one.
Yeah. Well, and that you get through it too, right? No matter how bad your story gets, or mine, or John's, or Thor's, or Nuke's, or Jack's, some other guy who's going through some shit right now is like, okay, well, there's a path ahead. Heck, that was half of my friends who did special forces. The only reason they got through the brutal preliminaries for things like clearance diver and that is because, well, all these guys are making it through. Like, I can do it. All I have to do is not quit. Don't quit and don't get injured. Yeah. You're basically in.
You play for time.
Run out the clock.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, you and I both know that time offers opportunities. Yep. And if you get all butthurt and you make a permanent decision to a temporary problem, you stop the clock.
Yep.
And you don't know you could win the goddamn lotto 10 years from now, and then you could be swamp fucking hot ass whores for the rest of your days. You don't know. You have no idea what's going to happen, man.
Well, heck, if somebody told you 10 years ago what you'd be doing today, would you even believe them, or would you tell them to go fuck themselves?
Well,
if somebody had told you 15 that, hey, you're going to write a book, and you're like, shut up, I don't even read.
Well, here's a weird thing about that whole situation, and this is kind of metaphysical. One of my best friends, he was like my baby brother, and he died when he was 42.
Jeez.
He died in his sleep, and mainly because he had a cocaine problem, which in my opinion was caused because his wife divorced him. So I go see this psychic medium. I know people think that's just a bunch of bullshit, and I'm talking to her, and she's like, do you have any questions you want to ask me? And I'm like, yeah, how long am I going to live? And she looks at me and she goes, you're going to live a long time, but you're going to have a surprise a course of actions change in your life. And I'm like, what are you talking about? She goes, you're going to become a teacher. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. I'm not going to work as a teacher. And here I am.
Esoteric pop. I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of the content today it's like man up and be more of a man, and because they all think they have this like super alpha view that they can out alpha the state and out alpha everyone, their whole family. If they just go to church and they have 7 kids and they read the Bible and pray 10 minutes a day, they're gonna be they're gonna be indestructible. Nothing can stop them.
Nuke, 6 kids and the 7th on the way, and then all of a sudden it's like, Jesus Christ, what happened? No shit to him. He's a great guy.
Oh yeah, who was that got? Was that Tanner?
Yeah,
Tanner. Yeah.
Oh
and
yeah.
The question me and Rob talked about this. Like, what do you have to do for your wife to leave you when she is the most vulnerable she'll ever be in her whole life? Seventh kid on the way and 6 other kids. Like, what did you do, dude? Like, I hope that he's okay, right? but that's an extreme. Like that raises a lot of questions. But
I definitely
for the
wouldn't put
most
it on
part,
the internet.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah,
You mentioned that thing about the alpha.
yeah.
First of all, being the alpha all the time is fucking exhausting.
Yeah, hell no, I can't do it.
My answer is go Sigma, because you can still do all the stuff the alpha can do, but you don't fucking care about what everyone else thinks. If another alpha shows up, you're like, go ahead, man, fucking do what you gotta do. Fuck you. Just stay the fuck out of my way, because I will fuck you up.
Yeah,
Well,
Thor,
that's
what
the
was it? The gray man
abundance.
theory? Thor, the gray man theory.
Gray
That we
man
talked
theory,
about?
absolutely.
Yeah,
It's right in there. I'm sure Pop knows what the gray man theory is.
yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much just
But
blend
no,
in, and
social
when you
signaling
need
is
to,
a-
Strategical move. Yeah, here and there. Yeah.
It's an abundance thing, because when a lot of guys who are like top tier guys run into other top tier guys, most people think, oh, you're going to try and flex and get over top of them. In reality, there's so very few guys that are like on your level. You kind of like, hey, I can make a friend here. Be all right. Guy's got his shit together.
Yeah,
It's like the guys who
where
don't have that
that's-
shit
and
together
I-
try to pull you down.
I always find it hilarious too, Pop. You're in your 50s now, aren't you? Like you've been
I'm
around.
55.
Jeez.
Hopefully, I
You
don't
don't
look
look
that
a day
old.
over
But
53.
thanks.
that's Rolo's age, right? 55.
He's a little
About
older
there, yeah.
than me.
Having
think
said that, Rolo doesn't have a video of him. I think you were benching 350 in your camo.
It was
I don't know if this is an old
225.
video, too.
I did 20
225,
reps
yeah.
at 225.
I think it was when you turned 50 and you looked at the camera. It's like, what do you got, shit talker on the internet? It was just one of those flexes that I was just laughing, because it's like a good flex, but it's also so ridiculously funny at the same time. I was like, well done.
Yeah, well,
I
that's
think I was 47. I'm like, I'm 40,
47. Sorry, yeah.
I just think that,
it's just too funny thinking about it.
yeah. Well, a lot of the content now is just like you just got to make more money and do this and lift more weights, and I'm like, dude, like for who? You know, like at some point, like your 405 deadlift is not going to stop. Does not control the universe. You know, like you're just going to have to deal with reality, and yeah,
Well,
and it's
Amazon
like this Cobra
boy made what,
contract.
100 billion? Made $100 billion, had to give his wife 50. Imagine that he had got his like marital shit on lock and only earned 50 billion. He'd be where he is today, no different.
Yeah, and
At
look at
some
you,
point, you
Hefner.
got to realize, like, yeah, when you're overworking, you're just
Listen,
working to pay off the alimony later on.
You need to watch the Jeff Bezos Pimp Tart Wasted edition. Because I break
It's a
that
good
down, man. I break that. He was paying like what was it, 111 million per hit on the pussy. I mean, goddamn.
That's the most
For a mid.
expensive.
Not even a 10, a mid.
Is it really cheaper to keep her with Terrence Pop? My whiteboard.
Yeah.
Terrence, and tell me this isn't true too. How many divorced guys have you talked to who had that idea that, oh my God, I got to pay this, I got to lose this, and then after the divorce, they find out they actually have more disposable income month to month, even after all the payments.
Way more.
Well, that's the
way more. When I did
it
my
all
taxes,
depends. Sometimes that does happen from time to time, but most of the time, especially if Alice isn't horny, any more money is attached, it doesn't work out until the kids hit around 18, and then they drop off the child support rolls. Because as men, we know, we lose money, we can always make more.
Yeah.
I mean, women, on the other hand, not so much.
That's their one cash out, is the divorce settlement.
They better milk that cow like they did the next guy's cock, because that money's gonna run out at some point.
Dude, and the worst, my mom was like that, except for, like, to be fair, my stepdad actually deserved everything he got. He was that bad. But, and here's the funny part, most of the nice guys got nice girls. The girl doesn't love him anymore, takes him for all they're worth. He was a horrible man. She stuck it out till the kids turned 18. And then for 2 years, she didn't even do it after. So it's almost like the worse of a husband you are, the less likely it is that the girl's going to test you. It's almost like they want you to be a villain. It's the weirdest thing.
Nice guys finish last. It's totally true.
Yeah. Don't you find it weird how most guys, their reaction to that isn't to harden up? It's just to surrender and, like, maybe this sacrifice will win it over. Maybe this appeal to charity will be better.
Well, not everyone's got the the heart to fight.
That's fact.
That's true. Very true. Most people do not have the heart to fight.
Yeah,
all.
John. Of course, John would know that. Yeah, of course.
You know, even some fighter, even lots of fighters, professional fighters, when it comes down to really standing up and fighting for something, they won't do it.
In any
See,
capacity.
I guess yeah,
fought-
you'd have tons of examples.
Yeah, I
Going to
fought
war
as
with
a
Dana White.
kickboxer from 22 to 32. And I've always had the same attitude in the ring as I do outside the ring. Stop and destroy. That's it.
2 speeds.
Remember two guys at the beginning of the episode when I said like everybody who's doing anything, Terrence did it first 10 years ago? Champion kickboxer, alpha male, lots of weaponry in the background. All he's missing is a Bugatti, and he still got his hair. It says, Andrew Tate stole your shit.
I was waiting for the reference. There it is.
I was trying not to bring him up because I didn't want to start putting the videos in here of that one.
What,
Yeah, we all stand on the shoulders of giants, don't we?
talking about Andrew Tate? Yeah.
Pop 2.0 technique. That's what we call him.
Yeah, he's got a rough road ahead of him, man. And,
Yeah, he's screwed. He's screwed. A lot of these.
I
lot of
have
these
a hard
people are
time
screwed.
feeling bad though because their only evidence is his thousands of hours of confessions. So, had he followed other of the pop videos, other than the ones about being a badass, he might have caught the one about keeping your mouth shut about breaking law. But hey,
Yeah, it's like that.
you have a lot of
January
back
6th stuff.
catalog. He might not have made it all.
Yeah, now we have Cake Tits. She's going to jail.
Oh yeah.
She got caught
happened?
red-handed taking a table outside of the Capitol. Like a picture, very clear picture, and it's just like now she's like putting Bible verses about fear and the road ahead. I'm just like, you guys got to stop
do you know
setting
this-
yourself on fire.
Is that the table she
nothing.
baked the cake on?
No, that's a
Yeah.
different
Do you know
table.
this chick, Terrence, or no? Like, do you know the backstory to this?
Nah.
She
Okay,
Doc
so
Roll's
there's
daughter.
this-
That's why we hate her.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, that's right. I forgot about that
Yeah.
part.
Huge
She was
bitch,
like
yeah.
some 28-year-old who decided now I'm traditional, conservative. I'm cashing my checks for Jesus. And she was baking a cake, but her tits were center frame with a little cross that was like, tiny. Anyway, she started getting mad at Rollo, doxed his daughter, and everybody was starting to make fun of this and how disingenuous she is. And then all of a sudden they found out she got arrested January 6th for deciding to like film evidence of committing crimes in the Capitol. It was the
I
second
commit
one.
great crime.
The second one in this space, our other one, Pat Stedman, my favorite arch nemesis, called me a low IQ moron for 3 years. Then he gets caught in the Capitol admitting on live stream that he's committing crimes. Can you believe that, Terrence? How many people have followed in your path are now like getting arrested in the Capitol for filming themselves committing federal crimes or falling for a honeypot? Like, I know you're pretty, I don't want to start talking about the goddamn Democrats because I know that'll get you on a tear, but can you believe it?
Yeah, well, I mean, I was in the DC on that day, and I had
Not
watched.
filming yourself?
Well, I sat there and I was with a security detail because we were working, or we worked the day prior was our day off, so we were watching Trump on the big, huge screen. And as soon as he was done, my ESP, went off, and I'm like, okay, this is gonna get real bad. Popster needs to get the fuck out of here.
All right, guys, let's wrap it up.
Rally on me, subway station. We're going to Virginia. Fuck this whole clusterfuck, and that's
Don't be there, Foo, the best self-defense you ever need.
Like, why don't more guys have that kind of like,
Situational awareness, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
like,
pure ego. It's
Well,
pure
yeah.
ego.
I had friends who were going to that. I got invited, and I was like, "This feels like a setup."
yeah, exactly. Like no one.
It just felt like I was like,
Ambush.
"Nah, I think I'm gonna skip this trip."
Push.
Well,
I was
I
like, this
developed
definitely
that.
feels like something's up.
I think I developed that ability because I've, seen 3 wars come and go, and I was almost killed in 2. So
Why not
when
the
you-
third one?
Yeah.
Jesus, Ryan.
Ryan,
just
superior
saying.
ambush detection skills.
Oh, yeah, you better believe it.
Yep.
I know and that's one of those skills. I don't know how anybody doesn't have them. Like, I was raised a pretty shitty upbringing, surrounded by a lot of people, a lot of Hell's Angel cocaine activity. Same thing. My like something feels up. I'm gonna go home right now. The amount of times that's happened in my life before like a
Yeah.
brawl, or like before January
Pattern
6th.
awareness,
flew.
maybe. Pattern awareness.
Yeah, I wish I
situational
could
awareness.
put like a
So maybe
thing on it.
God is looking out for us a little bit. 'Cause I've always had that. I've had that thing where it's like, man, something's just a little off with this party or this thing that's going on. And I'm like, I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna go. And then 5 minutes later, police showed up or a fight broke out or something crazy happened. And I hear about it a day later, 2 days later.
I wonder if we could have
Like,
something
does
to do with
anybody know how
what
to teach that? Like, can you teach that, or do you just have to come from the school of hard knocks to learn it?
Experience, I guess.
I don't
could
know.
you have-
I-
could you have- could you have
Part of it is just being a person who is like in tune with the moment and can pay attention to things going on with you, because you have to absorb everything that's going on around you and what's normal and what's not normal in order to recognize that something's off. I think some people really are so much in their own heads, they're not paying attention. They would have been food.
Are they in their own heads?
For
Or
an animal a long time ago, you know.
I mean, didn't we just talk about the study that came out where like 60% of people actually don't have an inner monologue in their head? So they're basically non-player characters running around. Some big study talking about that. And it's like, dang, basically automatons following the group.
There's a whole metaphysical argument behind that, but that's not the premise of this show.
I still think that's weird. How can you not have an inner monologue?
For me, it was my dad.
Hey, I don't know enough about it. I just saw the headlines, so I'll back out.
For me, it was just my dad. He said, hey, when you're in the Navy, I know you're joining the Navy, but if you see 20 sailors in a bar, don't go inside that bar. Just keep walking. And that is some of the best advice, because you wake up the next day, oh, 2 sailors got charged with fighting, or this girl slept with this guy's wife, or the captain's wife slept with the XO's wife, which happens a lot in the Navy, apparently, and all that stuff. And it's just like, damn, if I would have been there, I would have at a minimum had to like testify or go in and had to like throw someone under the bus because I saw something or may or may not have saw something. So it's just like a lot of the times too. It's just
you're
like,
definitely could find a ship if nothing else.
Yeah, and also, I think it's an ego thing, right? There's people that think they're untouchable, that nothing bad could ever happen to them, that you know, life isn't as dangerous as they think because they're just so cool and invincible. But me, I was always like, yeah, I could die at any moment if I don't look before I cross the street. If I say something disrespectful to the wrong dude, I could die. Like I can die.
You guys
if you're like me, you pass for the locals.
You're familiar with?
You can't have like
familiar with the 7 deadly sins?
Yeah.
All right. Every one of those 7 deadly sins is what a man uses to set his own goddamn death trap. It's his own bait.
Wow.
Yeah, that makes sense.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, I think maybe that's it, Newt, because like you're like me. You pass for, if you're in Greece, they'll think you're Greek. If you're in South America, they think you're South American.
Yeah.
White guys, when they get pulled over by the cops, they just get, hey, you should just pay the fine right here and move it beyond your way. But you go into like normal prison because they think you're a local. Oh, look at that. He's pretending he speaks English. So you have to, like,
nice
you
try.
and I had to be.
Yeah. Yeah, I just think that
you learn.
Yeah, I just thought that I'm not invincible. Like, I can go to jail at any moment. I could be at the wrong place at the wrong time. I've watched the movies. I've watched what's the movie with Martin Lawrence and Eddie Murphy where they go to jail for being in the wrong place at the wrong time?
Oh yeah. I don't know the name. Life.
It's Life. Yeah, and they were just 2 dudes hanging out the wrong, and they got accused of something. I'm like, that could be any. I mean, obviously that's an extreme case, and that was like in the 50s or what, the 30s, 40s, America.
So it's a Me Too accusation. It's an extreme outside case.
Yeah, and then those movies that my dad would tell me, hey, no girl is special. Don't, thank God I had my dad. He did 20 years of the Navy himself. So he gave me a lot of like street knowledge about the military. And my biggest asset was just to avoid women in the military, right? I would get yelled at them sometimes for no reason, but I would just be like, yes, ma'am. Yeah, I messed up. And if a girl wanted to date, or I saw a girl on Tinder from my ship, swipe left, nope. And as a matter of fact, if I was dating a civilian girl, I wouldn't even bring her around the Navy girls. Wouldn't even do that.
If she knew your rank, that was my red flag. If she knew what rank I was, or she knew what it meant. What's a master seaman? All right, let's go grab a coffee. I can only imagine the Army's just as bad.
Yeah. So.
Hey, do you know this? The regiment? Or do you guys have an RSM, regiment sergeant major, or?
I don't know what usually called the command sergeant major.
That's the one.
In the Army,
I know, there's always the story of the girl, like you sleep with the girl, and then the next day you wake up and there's a picture of her with him on the nightstand. You're like,
oh my God, that happens. There was a barracks bunny who was the daughter of a sergeant major getting railed by like virtually everyone in the barracks.
Every command. Yeah. It's every command.
It's every command.
Every command, darn it.
And if you're that unlucky guy that's on CQ, which is charge of quarters, when that's happening, and if the word gets out, you're fucked.
Yeah.
I can't tell how many times that guy's run to my desk. Like, hey, such and such's daughter is like trying to get in the barracks. Something. Oh hell no! Go out there, make sure all the fucking doors are locked. Only they can come in and out of one entrance, and I'm sitting right there saying, "You get the hell out of here! I'm not going to Leavenworth for you."
That's how you know this stuff is true, because it's like different elements, different countries, the exact same.
It's
Same.
all the same.
The only difference is the name on the rank and the amount of chevrons on the side.
And the place you'll go if you get accused of something. So.
Oh yeah. The only thing I'm wondering is if you guys have like the Tide box thing. That's the one thing we have in Canada in the PMQs, where if my husband's getting deployed and he's out for the day, every different base like Shiloh or Victoria or whatever would have a different detergent box they would put out in the window to let the guy know, hey, you're safe to come over. And because it's the PMQs, there's all the chicks gossiping, all the stay-at-home moms having the MFRC meetings. I'd assume there's got to be something similar like that to the States.
So you're talking about the Jody flag? You wave it, and he shows up to bang your wife.
Is that what you guys call it? Oh, we always called it the Tide box. Interesting.
Well, what the girls do is whenever a ship leaves, they all go out.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, in Norfolk, whenever a carrier leaves, a strike group leaves, it's a big deal. You see it pull out. There's a lot of traffic that day. There's the news says it on the news, and the wives are like, "Okay, cool. I sent my husband off," and then they go out to the bars. Which there's a big beer culture in Norfolk, so they go out to these bars,
get drunk,
and then you're a new seaman. You just pulled into from your 1 month cruise, and you're just like, I'm gonna go out and paint the town red. And then you're dancing with the girl, and you look at her hand, you don't see anything. You're just like, oh, okay, it's cool. And then right when you're gonna take her home, or things are getting a little hot and heavy, she's like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm married. And I'm just like, Jesus Christ. It was like this carrier that left today, wasn't it? And she's like, yeah.
We have so much more on the same thing.
Hey, Nuke, at least you didn't make a delivery directly to the warehouse. That's how bad shit happens.
Yeah.
We had that. It was a place called the Carlton Club, and it was one of those places where you pee in a trough. And it was always like natives and drug users and drunks. And then all of a sudden, you could tell when a ship left, because then all of a sudden it's middle-aged soccer moms filling up the place. And it used to be a joke that every ship, you'd have your own stickers of the ship's crest, and you would put it on the underside of the toilet seat. If you're like, yeah, I'm going to do her, but I don't want to leave my buddy hanging, so you leave your ship sticker there, so because she never lifts the seat. So when you lift the seat to go pee, and they're like, oh, thanks, man. It was kind of like, yeah, I'm screwing you over, but at least I'm gonna help you out a bit.
Jeez,
yeah,
there's
so
like a whole
and that's funny. That's
this.
why we all had ship stickers.
The best story I have in regards to that, I was in the 9th Infantry Division. It's 5:00 in the afternoon. We're getting released for the day. My platoon sergeant is literally giving us the end of the day instructions and telling us what we're doing the next day. And from behind the formation, I hear this car, and then you hear some dude running up around the formation, and he Superman punches our platoon sergeant in the face. Boom! And we're all like, oh shit! We all jump in there and we break it up. And this corporal's like, you're fucking my wife, you motherfucker. And the commander comes out and he's just like, what's going on here? And then the guy's like, he's fucking my wife. He's like, yo, you get into the office. So everyone hangs around the head shed to hear what's going on.
Yeah, I'm not going home after that.
And then the commander handled it well. He heard the stories. He looks at the corporal. He goes, "You may leave." And I never saw that platoon sergeant again. He was gone.
It's always the good one. If it's a good enough story, you don't get run. Well, good on him at least.
Hey, look, this is some people you don't fuck around with. He could have showed up with a 12 gauge and been a whole other animal.
Yeah.
So anyway, the Superman punch is almost doing him a favor.
Yeah.
Could be.
It was a good one because, hey, Fitch, you know that sound when you actually get a good shot on a dude's grape? It's like that punching meat sound.
Yep.
It's beautiful. beautiful. I
Yep.
was like in the second rank, and I was looking between two dudes' shoulders. I'm like, wow.
That's so. That's
Picture everybody
interesting.
standing at attention when you could look, and everybody's eyes just shifting over. Oh no, you're probably standing at ease, so you can move
Yep.
your heads around and stuff.
Yeah, we were at ease.
So it's just that funny one when you're. I guess if you guys don't know, when you're on parade and everybody's standing at attention, they tell you to look straight ahead. But when you're first in, everybody always like looks with their eyes, and they don't realize how insanely obvious it makes you look and how bad it looks on parade. So for me, it's always just a laughing thing when something amazing happens, and all of a sudden, like 50 eyes just dart to the left.
No, the funny thing is being at parade when you're in bad waters and everyone's just doing this, just fighting to stay, And then if the chief was pissed at you or the divo, he would just make you stand at a couple more extra minutes. So, he'd laugh at everyone trying to stay straight.
Dude, I was the guy who's throwing up on that stuff.
In the Navy.
Yeah, but yeah, there's just so many stories.
Seasickness.
Yeah. Well, there's just so many stories, friends. A couple of my friends got Me Too'd. A couple of my friends were on the edge, and it's just like it's really important we talk about this stuff because I luckily had a dad who did 20 years in the Navy. He told me like, "Hey, this could happen, and then my mother, who was a Navy wife, said, "Hey, those women, when I was traveling with your dad, or deployed with stationed in another place with your dad, those women, they're whores. Like they become whores when their husbands leave, and I saw it all. I was raising both of you, and they would invite me out and be like, "Hey, let's go do this," and they're like, "No, I got 2 baby boys. Like I can't go be a hoe." So thank God for my mom. My parents are still together. Yeah. So
you know what? In my entire military service, I know 2 guys that are still married to their original wives.
Jesus.
Yeah, literally, as soon as we'd go to the field or get deployed, these women would go to the bars and be, drinking throat yogurt right out of the drinking straws.
Our big thing was the French guys, the guys out of Quebec. They always had, like, every rank. You always had, you have your course, and then you have your on-job thing, and then they'd always have a divorce. So by the time you made it to, like, Chief Petty Officer 2nd class or Chief 1st class, you'd have, like, 3 or 4 ex-wives. And for some reason, all of them were garbage. Except for this latest one. She's great. Way better than the last ones.
Yeah.
But it was always a Quebec thing. I don't know why.
Well, I can't tell you how many times I had guys show up in front of my desk. They're like, "Hey, Sergeant, I need to fill out the paperwork because I want to get married." I'm like, "What? Dude, you're like an E4, bro." "I know, but, she loves me. She's different. She would never do that to me." And I'm like, "Where'd you meet her at?" "I met her at Peepers." Oh,
the one that's closest to the base?
Yeah. The Shake It Club. Yeah.
Yeah, and those guys had...
She just, pours drinks. I'm like, uh-huh. Sure.
Yeah.
Dude,
yeah, and those guys were the most like egotistical. Like, yeah, I have a girl. What about you guys? Yeah, I have. I'm having sex. I'm just like, Jesus Christ, dude.
He made it into my first book. His name was Matt. I was exactly that. I love her. I met her at the Carlton Club. She said she's a virgin until like one of the guys on ship's like, "Oh yeah, we slept together a bit." Well, okay, you were my second. She ended up during her bachelor party. I got him drunk, sent him home, stayed out a bit, and then I blacked out for a bit. When I came to, she was grinding on me, came back to my place.
Oh no.
And it was so bad that the next day, him, her, and their whole family was standing at the bridge, or not at the bridge, the gangway. And like, "Hey, I heard she left her jacket at your place last night. You mind if I come pick it up?" And he was like, "Hey, thanks for showing her a good time, making sure she made it home safe." I was like a hero because everybody's story was that I had to bang her, but I didn't. But, nobody's going to believe that. But the part that got me is like, you're not even going to ask? Like, no questions? I'll even take one for the team. If you want to punch me in the face, like, I'll wear that. No, just thanks, man. I knew I could trust you. Poor bastard. And he was the one that ended up, his wife started taking him to like key swapping parties, but none of the other girls wanted to do him. So he just had to take pictures of everybody railing his wife.
Wow.
Dude.
Oh, I got so many.
Yeah, the military is it's the most visceral way to take this red pill stuff. Like, I stayed away from women. Like, if they wanted to be friends, no, I would very professional. And even then, I was about to sit down in front of the control panel to take my reactor operator shift. And the girl, I was relieving a girl. I was 5 minutes late, but I brought her like a Monster Energy to say, "Hey, I'm sorry." And she was my friend, and she took all the logs, all the papers, and the clipboard and threw it in my face. And none of the chain of command that was behind me. This is the most professional place you have to be in the whole ship, is inside of a nuclear control room. No one did anything, and I had to just eat it, right? And then the next day she was like, "Hey, good morning. How you doing, Nuke?" And I was like, "Hi." And then I was just, because it's just terrifying. Like, what do you do? What do you do with someone like that? And she's no accountability. You have to stay away from them, and be polite, but stay away and run away when you see them, because that's the person with way too much power. I was terrified.
Well, one of ours, chick did that. She tried charging the whole department with sexual harassment because they were in Guam, all drunk.
Oh, you get $500,000 for that these days.
Yeah, and she was one of those ones where she got really sad when she was drunk. It's like, "Hey, do you guys think I'm pretty?" Because I guess she was a lesbian and her girlfriend dumped her, and they're like, "Yeah, of course." One of the boys, "Yeah, you're great." Next day, felt guilty and embarrassed, tried charging the whole department with harassment. So the next time they were out partying, I think it was San Diego, they just left her behind. Tried charging them again because they were avoiding her and not being inclusive to the group. So it's almost like
they'll never be happy.
Like, it's just, they'll never be happy, and you just have to pray and hope you have a command guy like Pop.
Well, I had to actually go toe-to-toe with the lieutenant colonel, and we're talking full World War III administrative violence shit.
Really?
She was a raging fucking cunt. Completely incompetent. And, for whatever reason, she'd singled me out, and she'd always go, "Hey, Sergeant Pop, I'm worried about you. I think you need..." And I'm like, here we go. And I basically, cranked over the turret, started launching IG complaints and all the other shit. And then I had another 5 or 6 other senior NCOs in the unit doing the same thing. And then I sent an email directly to our first general officer in our chain of command with all of the evidence and all the complaints. And I'm like, "Sir, you might want to get down here and check this out, because if this blows up, it's gonna fuck you too." So he literally comes.
See, now he has to care.
Yeah,
he has to care.
He shows up like a week later. Now, generals, it's the closest thing to royalty there is in the military in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
And he talks to everyone. And he comes down and talks to me. And the main complaint that this lieutenant colonel had is like, "Well, your administrative skills aren't up to snuff." And I'm like, "Yeah, that might be correct. Well, then send me to 71 Alpha School and get me up to snuff, because you're trying to rate me on something I'm not even, trained to do the job, which is a big no-go."
You're not even qual?
Yeah.
And then he goes, "No, we're not going to do that, Sergeant. I looked at your record. You got, 2 wars, 2 Purple Hearts, 2 CIBs. Your NCOERs are stellar, except for the one where she fucked you." And he goes, "A lieutenant colonel has the power to point their finger at anyone and say that person's a piece of shit, and they could throw him out of the service. But in this instance, I tend not to believe her." And then she got boxed up and sent out of there within, 90 days. She was gone.
That's so satisfying.
It's impressive.
And I kept lobbing IG complaints, as she was, after she left, just to make sure she stayed out of the harbor. Fucking cunt.
And you stay out.
In Canada, when you're that high of a rank, you kind of become a politician, and they're more concerned about like feeding the minister's requests, which is why a lot of our girls make it to lieutenant commander. Because it's like, we need to promote more women. I actually got fucked over once in a promotion, and my boss flat out told me it's because we need to promote more women. And it was the incompetent feminist beside me. She got to be my manager, and it was like horrible.
Yeah,
I lost to somebody who has no idea about the job.
I lost 30% of all my NCOs because of that at one time, and they all dropped their transfers.
Best and brightest too, wouldn't it be?
But now I have to do 8 people's jobs. And again, the IG came down to do a command climate survey. This is the same colonel.
No, not the command climate survey. Oh, jeez.
Yeah, and they get to me, and I'm literally like, the cunt ran out, 30% of the NCOs of this unit. I mean, we're combat ineffective, and it's all because she's a fucking a bitch. And you're like, well, you need to check that word. And I'm like, okay, she's a female breeding dog. You know?
Operationally insufficient with an innie, not an outie. I don't know.
No, and I'm telling you right now, if I ever run into her in the civilian world, she's going right to the intensive care unit.
Oh, dude, that's an impression. I don't know. I get Canada was bad too. We actually Me Too'd a lot of our command. Like, we only have one general. For us, it's like commodores, vice admirals, vice generals, stuff like that. We lost 6 out of the 12 of them in 2 years when Trudeau got first elected. In one case, it was one of those few general types that the lower ranks also liked him as much as the higher ranks did, which is, Terrence, you know that's rare as shit. But he had mooned somebody when he was in Royal Military College back in the 90s, and they brought that up to Me Too and kick him out. And it was like a bunch of really good command team got booted out for this, and a bunch of sycophants, and then, you know, women were promoted up in their space.
Oh, I have a
This is
story.
big reason why the military in Canada is as bad as it is right now.
Well,
'Cause
you're
they did a
aware.
big push for diversity.
Are you guys aware that the military just sent out an alarac to all commands that came right from the DOD, and they're putting in place procedures to call back retired individuals back to active duty? And it's because of this fucking bullshit. Nobody's enlisting. People are retiring en masse because of this fucking political climate that's taking place within the military.
Yeah, the
Did you
new
guys
bonuses
lose a lot
to
from the
stay in
JAB
are 6
requirements too, or
figures.
no? Because we lost a lot for mandatory vaccination requirements. I don't know if you guys did.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of people got kicked out, apparently, right? Didn't a lot of people get kicked out, or they weren't allowed to re-up?
Yeah, they did. And if they try to call my ass back to active duty, it is going to be a comedy fucking gold. Because I will be pumping out a comedy video about that shit every
please make content if you
day.
get called back in. Please make content about it.
Yeah, and literally, they also wanted to send me to sensitivity training. And I remember I'm on the phone, and I'm like, okay, you're not happy with me? All right. Oh, you want to send me to sensitivity training? Please send me. I relish it.
Yeah. Well, I have a story with CNN came to my ship. So the vice president, so Vice President Pence, at the time, said 2019 or 2018. I think we had just gotten back from our 3rd deployment, and he was coming. So the whole base was like, oh, you know, everyone had to field day the ship for like 7 times that week. We were so exhausted from cleaning. And then they told the nukes, hey, nukes, don't be out in public. Stay in the plant in case something bad happens. Don't use the intercom to announce any bad thing. Just stay in the plant and focus on keeping the plant safe because the vice president's coming. We're just like, okay, sounds good. So the command master chief, right, which is the E9 for us, Ryan, he comes up there, and CNN's in the crowd, right? You know, they're doing their thing and reporting news. And he tells all the sailors, hey, when Vice President Pence gets here, I want you guys to clap like you're at a strip club. Those were his famous last words. A week later, a report came out where CNN was like, wow, Command Master Chief tells sailors to clap like they're at a strip club when Vice President comes on board. And it was just like a whole piece. And he got fired.
Wow.
Oh.
Yeah.
That was better than our CNN.
Yeah, CNN, yep.
Yeah, they taught that they were the ones that taught me not to trust news. We were in Horn of Africa. We were hunting pirates out by the Somali coast, so all the way up from Djibouti to South Africa, up and down looking for stuff. We only ever seemed to find pirates, by the way, when a film crew was on board. We'd find one right away. How crazy. Anyways, at one point, all these officers are dying for their cocktail party story of how they stopped terrorism or some shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody let out a mayday. Now, Terrence, you don't know this. If there's a mayday call, it's like an SOS. But if you respond to it, you're obliged by international law to, your private first responder. So he hears this mayday, some cruise ships being attacked by pirates. He's like, get on the line, blah, blah, blah. And the XO's like, sir. Ships do about 30 knots max. Ship is 300 nautical miles away. Do the math. And then once he kind of is like, yeah, we got this. We're coming to help you, blah, 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 hangs up. And then once the gravity of the situation sinks in, he goes pasty white. So we have our Sea King helicopter, which was great for fighting Koreans, by the way. That's how old this thing is. They had to strip that down to nothing. They had to take out the carpets. They took out, I think at one point, all they had was a C7, so like an M16 with like a couple extra mags and then just fuel. And they raced it out there to go catch them in time. The problem was they didn't have enough fuel to go there and back. So we had to race our ship. We had to turn on the turbo, the diesel. We're burning enough cubic like meters of fuel that any of our climate change initiatives, they were just taken back like
Can't relate.
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, right. So we had to race, and it was like to the minute. We had to get to the halfway point so it could go there and come back. Anyways, the ship just ended up fishtailing, sprayed some hoses. The guys ran off anyway. CNN on the ship tells the story. We sounded like fucking Jason Bourne. It sounded like the old World War II commercials where, they grabbed some knives and dived onto the thing. And I'm like, what in the... I wish I was on that deployment. It sounded fucking awesome. And in reality, it was just like a $2 million dick flex for cocktail parties. Yeah, so fuck CNN. Fuck CNN. And I know this is a timid story. I know for a pop, like, I got 3 stories that are better than that. Like, I know you guys both do.
We could do
That's
this all
the worst
day.
part. We could do this all day.
Jack is like,
Jack,
what is up in
CNN?
America right now?
Dude. I'm just sitting here enjoying all these tales, in all honesty. Sorry if I'm quiet, but in all honesty, compared to you 3, I don't have much to add right now. Like, I got broken up with in like fashions I find terrible, but nothing Pop went through. I wasn't zeroed out by the military. I haven't had friends go as far as Nuke. It's like, I mean, I've been depressed before about shit like that, and I mean, I've seen a dark side, but that's not a story for today.
Hence the squat rack in your bedroom.
Yeah.
Well, I've actually done quite a few videos to benefit the the military personnel out there. I did a PTSD video. I did one when people get caught in the mindset in between peace and war, meaning like when you go to war, all you want to do is go home. Then you go home, all you want to do is go back to war, and that causes all kinds of problems. So I did a whole video about that, explaining exactly what it is, how it happens, and most people don't realize they're stuck in that loop until it's too late.
Yeah. My first year out of the military was rough. It was the pandemic year, and I almost went crazy because you go from being around your shipmates and cracking jokes and complaining all the time about how shitty the Navy is to like being by yourself 24/7. So yeah,
it was rough. You could sleep in past 7 o'clock.
About
That's the one.
So I got out November 2019. It wasn't till like early summer that I started sleeping past 8 on Sunday. Like
crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
The little things.
And I tried everything. Blackout curtains. Yeah, I think my biggest issue for me was work. I couldn't, like, my bosses wanted to be friendly and chill with me, and I'm just like, hey, chill. I'm not,
Yeah.
And I didn't want to be friends with anyone at work. I was just like, you guys aren't, like, HR is like right over there. Why would I even say anything? It was just very weird. And then luckily I got a job where there's no women. I don't work with women, so right now. So I'm
that miserable
I'm
a
doing
job, huh, that no girls want to join.
Yeah, exactly. But
yeah, those are hard. Do you guys have a Remembrance Day ceremony? For us, that's November 11th. It's World War I. I think you guys have Patriots Day. Like every year, you'd have to parade full rig, bayonets, that kind of thing. Do you have an equivalent?
Each branch has their own
Memorial Day.
Okay, maybe. I mean,
4th of July, Memorial Day, Veterans Day. There's always some shit like that going on.
Yeah, depends on the state. Like Texas Veterans Day is big in Texas. They do parades. They have different branches come. They have veterans do the smile and wave. So it depends on how America the state is. Probably wouldn't do it as much in California. Yeah,
that was the big thing for me. The first Remembrance Day that I was out of the military, I actually had like a bit of a moment. It was like the first time I didn't have to dress up, get down there, get a bayonet, do a 10K march. It was like a very pride-filling event, right? Because World War I is kind of where Canada separated from Britain and became our own country. A little less bloodshed than you guys, but whatever. And the first time you realize, like, you're important, you're vital. This doesn't happen without you. And then the next year it's like, I guess I'll sit here and have a beer.
Yeah,
it hurts, man.
Yeah,
the beer was good, but still, I don't know. It's all these things I just take for granted that, like, Jack, no offense to you, you'll never experience this. Just getting out and the change of pace. Or hell, even I don't know. You guys have cots like Nuke. You probably sleep in the coffins we call them. They're like
the coffin
king-size
racks.
beds.
Yeah,
When you got back from deployment, I had to sleep for 6 months on the sofa because my bed was too big and I was getting agoraphobic over it.
Oh, I needed red light. I needed red light to sleep. Yeah, and it was too quiet. It was too quiet to sleep. Yeah,
it was too quiet. I still to this day I need white noise to go to bed.
I can't sleep, so you guys got me beat.
Well, man, I don't blame you, man. I don't blame you one bit.
Damn it, he doesn't give us anything. No, I don't know. It's one of those things. It's weird. No, I know. You were saying. I believe you. I totally believe you. It's just
it's because
interesting how much they take that you don't really think about until you hear people that don't have to.
No, it's the TBI thing. Like the part of my brain is damaged where I just can't lay down and go to sleep. It's like a superpower. I can stay up for 3 days straight and I'll be just fine.
Yeah.
And then
but I mean, how did the TBI thing happen?
I got the front end of my Humvee got vaporized by 40 to 60 kilograms of something that went boom.
See what I mean? That's what
I hate when that happens, right? I hate when that happens.
Yeah, well, the EOD guys are like, hey, man, you guys basically survived a blast that should have killed a normal human being 3 times over.
Well, you're here for a reason then.
Yeah, I'm here to pick fights and fuck with death. What can I say?
Well, you're not here to sleep.
That's right.
That's for sure, yeah. But
no, and they never, this is one thing too, the military, they told us that is whenever, you know how most guys, you get injured, you're like, it's whatever, I can walk it off, I'll be fine at work the next day. We actually had a lot of guys like sping amongst each other in little informal networks, like, don't do that. You go get your med chits for it. You go get it dealt with because you can walk through it now at 23, but when you're 45 and that nagging injury comes back to you, now you're going to try and go to the Veterans Affairs, say, hey, I got tinnitus now because you had me sit in a room that's 130 decibels with a chiller 24/7. They're like, well, we have no record of in your military career. They essentially take your hearing and now you're fucked. When you could have at least gotten payment or treatment. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to bitch. You got to bitch when you're in the Navy. You got to bitch everything. Like, don't fuck your shipmates over by like not doing your job. But like when you get a chance, go bitch about your stuff. Because if
cover your ass, CYA. That was, I think, one of the biggest things in administrative violence. Know the regs, CYA, and shut the fuck up. I think those are the 3 I can remember off the top of my head.
Yeah, shutting the fuck up is every year becomes more of a superpower as you get older as a dude. Like I see people who don't shut the fuck up and their lives get ruined. I'm just like, I am so glad that I shut the fuck up. It's so nice to just not. Ever. Yeah, well, you say that it's hard sometimes for some people apparently.
Well, I think it's because they want to be heard. They want to be, I want you to feel my pain. That's why a lot of guys, they try to get their ex-wives to be sympathetic to them because I need you to understand what you're doing and your pain. She's like, I know, I just don't care. Thank you for the evidence.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest things about this stuff is that when I got out of the military, I wanted to tell women like what the military was like. But even when I even got started, they would just start tearing up, and I'm like, now the evening's ruined, the mood's ruined. So I just stopped. And then whenever they had a question, I'd answer them like, yeah, this happened, and then I'd move on. But like a lot of, especially veterans, man, even women don't care that much. When they care, they'll ask you, and then you give them a really strawberry fields happy answer. You know,
you just answer fuck off,
or that you can tell them to fuck off.
You needs to smash. Yeah, a little bit of sugar on that. No, I would just find it funny sitting there because I bet you anything you would tell me the story and I kind of laugh. I'm like, oh, that's totally it. You look over at the girl and she's bawling.
Yeah, and that's
no. It's funny. It's really funny.
Yeah, even my brother, me and my veteran friends here in Dallas, we all went out to get sushi, and I invited my brother along, and we just started telling stories like suicide jokes, death jokes, rape jokes, all this stuff. We call people by crazy names, and then my brother was like, just eating a sushi, like, what the fuck? And I'm like, oh, sorry, dude. Hey, let me translate. This is what happened. Blah, blah, blah. We just made a joke of it. And I think my first moment experiencing how fucked up the humor was in the military was we were in a small little briefing in our workshop in the Navy or on our ship.
Yeah.
And there was this guy that was getting fucked by, like, administratively fucked, right? He had to stay every day 4 hours after work to study because he was falling behind in his quals, it wasn't his fault, right? So he was getting fucked. He was going kind of crazy. It's sad to see. And then there was a rope on top of the desk, and he was like messing with the rope, right? And then I looked down, and it's a nice, perfect noose, perfectly made noose. And I was just like, I've never seen a noose in my life. That was my first. I was just like, holy shit, trying to pay attention to the brief, but I see this noose on the desk. And then the other guy that's like also experienced, you know, he's one of the guys training me. He was just like, dude, that's a nice one. You're getting better at those. But don't let them see you do that. Don't let them see you do that because, you know, you can get in trouble for that. He's like, yeah, you're right, but I'm getting better. And then he undid it. I'm just like, what the fuck is this place? And then that humor, you absorb it, and then the world ain't ready for that kind of humor. You know?
Yep.
It's great.
I like that
it's
one.
Great.
I got yelled
Here's
at
one,
twice
it's,
for having a noose hanging on my wall when I was in the infantry.
Jesus.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. That's
What for? Just because?
Well, you get the
You're working
command
on it?
inspection. They come walk through the room. Sergeant Major's like, oh, what's going on? Hey! Who's that? Whose noose is that? I'm like, that's mine, Sergeant Major. You take that shit down. That shit's fucked up. You're going to wind up with a head doctor in here. We don't need none of that.
Yeah, I don't think the military now would take it that way. It would be a whole thing, and it'd be like 6 hours of mental health training. They fly in a therapist. Hey, the military values you. You have to take care of yourself. You know.
You know how many fucking billions of dollars our government has spent on counselors and head shrinks and 1-800 numbers and call staff to try to curb this suicide, and it is done.
I don't think they're trying to curb it. I think they're trying to
all.
look like they're doing something.
And well, here's the thing.
Goal. That's why they don't care.
I actually am effective, at least in my limited arena, at what I do is try to talk people down from that. I can't even purchase an ad in Stars and Stripes or Military Times because my stuff is too politically incorrect. They'd rather have people kill themselves than have somebody who's a crass, incorrect motherfucker trying to help these dudes out. So this is strictly my opinion. Next time you're in the PX, leave those papers alone. Let them rot on the stand. Fuck them because they don't give a shit about you.
Yeah, I agree. It's all perception.
Yep.
Well, we're doing something. We have all, it's so they can say up in front of a camera, well, we have all these programs in place and we're doing it. And then on the other side, it's like, we'll take your money and we'll help you. We'll give you that plausible deniability for sure. Although, I guess, Terrence, you're probably the best to answer this from Unrealized Thoughts. Thank you. He wants to write a book of incorporating military-esque force in it. How would you treat a military in fiction?
Well, the military in fiction, well, you got to get familiar with how the chain of command works. And then there's always a divide between officers and enlisted because enlisted have actual real-world experience. Officers are book smart. And only the really good officers can make that transition from book smart to real world smart without getting a whole bunch of people killed.
I agree. I would say make it satirical too. Like you don't have to make it that serious. Like Starship Troopers, people really like satirical military stuff. You know, like don't take it.
That's not a bad one. Same as like the noose jokes.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid of ruffling some feathers. I think that's part of it. Is like, I don't know if you guys had this. We always had the one where like everybody had a story about how they got fucked over, but whoever had the best, it was like a one-upmanship thing. It was like, who had it worse? And that was like a point of pride. Oh, this guy's been fucked over worse than everybody because the new guys don't even think it's possible.
I used to rate my ass chewings. I used to rate them on a scale of 1 to 10 after I got done getting yelled at.
Yeah. What point did you guys stop being afraid of ass chewings? Like for me, it was E4. I was just like, yep, that.
I would say somewhere about E5, E6.
That letter I put on my desk from the Ottawa JAG telling them to put me back to work and stop wasting their time. Oh, second letter on top of that one too. Because the CO, the whole reason he started this was to get rid of me. He wanted somebody else in there because he didn't like me. My career manager said, no, I'm not going to let you break another one of my guys. You deal with this one. And so he had to send a letter saying, yeah, I hate this guy. He's useless. He cheats on his taxes, whatever. But we're desperate for people right now, and so we need him. So that was the second letter I put there. That was when I stopped giving a fuck about getting chewed out.
Yeah, if you want to be a good leader, you're just going to have to operate on forgiveness, and you will get yelled at all the time. I mean, I literally got yelled at every day at 1900 hours when I was in Iraq by the sergeant major who literally had an 87 IQ.
That sucks. Working for an idiot.
Oh,
Man.
Yeah, it sucked, but I turned it into a comedy fest. People would come in on their day off to listen to me get my ass chewed and die laughing at my responses.
Are you not entertained? That's great.
Honestly, that was the best lesson I ever got in the military. Because I was one of those guys, you know, the ones at school, they tell you how smart you are. They put you in the gifted programs and that.
Yeah,
The high
me
IQ
too.
guys that bitch. I was one of those guys. And it literally was my 80 IQ boss who's like, I get you got all these like fancy degrees and shit like that, but it's 7:00, so go scrub the fucking toilets, ordinary seaman. And I was so mad, but it was like the best thing anybody could have ever done for me.
Yeah, they told me
people telling you you're smart makes you stupid, makes you lazy.
Yeah, I got told when I got on the show, hey, you're not a nuclear operator, you're a nuclear janitor, so go clean. And I was just like, sounds good.
The same thing in the
infantry.
infantry.
Toilet, it's hard to have an ego.
Yeah, you see the you see the videos. They're like use little gloves picking up little things from the little grass outside. I'm just like, yep, that's how it is.
Damn.
Yeah.
What was the infantry version?
The infantry version is 11 janitor.
Or in Iraq, isn't there the guy whose job was to light shit on fire in the desert?
Yeah,
the hole that you guys shit into.
Well, I did that when I was a private. I was a shit burner.
Shit burner.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, imagine how many people nowadays, if they just had like a 6-month tour of having to burn shit or clean toilets once or twice a day for 6 months, how much ego would be removed from like the political class or the academic class? That little bit of humility.
Yeah. And here's another thing. Now, I just wrote an essay and put it up on LinkedIn on why the military has radically missed the recruiting numbers.
Mm-hmm.
And so I saw this happen many times. I was a infantry soldier, an airborne paratrooper, an airborne ranger, a Green Beret, with all of the bells and whistles and schools that goes along with it. We're talking an untold amount of tax dollars and resources expended in my making. And it's like that for every other, Green Beret, for the most part. Now, he decides he's going to get married. She says the 3 magic words, I'm not happy. And this dude is absolutely crushed. And that dude more than likely is going to get out of the service. Now, isn't it just basic economics to protect your investments? Because now I have to go find another dude with the right headspace timing, who has the ability to endure that much abuse, who's basically a low-level genius IQ to learn all the stuff you need to do. Those guys are exceedingly rare, and they can't even get a JAG lawyer to represent their investment in fucking divorce court.
Yeah,
it is so fucking stupid.
And it used to be here. You used to require your CO's permission to get married. You used to have to go in front of him and plead your case.
Damn.
They had that, and they got rid of it. You never guess which group of people decided that was an illegal thing.
All the smart nukes, they try to get them to stay in, or if you're a girl, either or. They try to get them to stay in, and a lot of the guys that left that were like really, people that I'm just like impressed by how much they knew, they all got out and they all went on to, like, one of them started a software company and ran a marathon and all that. And I'm just like, wow, that guy used to sit next to him at Chow and he was like a regular dude. But he said, hey, I like working. I like being competent. I just don't think this place is rewarding me enough. But I'll do my job.
What do you do in the civilian world now?
I'm a field service engineer. So I just go and work in IT rooms all over Dallas and fix stuff.
Hey, Jack, what do you do in the civilian world?
Me? Administrative, how do you say that? I work in administration.
So you're a pencil whipping individual?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. How long have you been doing that?
I just started this new job 2 weeks ago.
All right.
Oh,
okay.
congrats.
Is this something you aspire to do? Or what actually would be your dream job if you could get it?
That's a good one. Well, I've got the personal training on the side, which is covering a lot. And I'm really enjoying that. Like seeing the guys actually, like Ryan mentioned, it's every now and then where it's like it clicks with guys. I just love that when it comes to like working out, where a guy who has been trying to get into shape or trying to better himself and he's just so confused with all the dumb information out there, then he gets to me and I simplify it all and he's like, wait a minute, this wasn't so hard, I just need to put the time in. And I'm like, yeah, all you need to do, just small consistent steps, and then you're there.
That's fucking good news, man. It's good news. I'm glad it's working out for you, really. And there's a lot of guys out there who basically sat in front of an Xbox from the age of like 8 to 18, and they get in the real world and they're like, oh shit, I gotta walk a mile to my fucking car every day and I gotta do all this other shit and I need to get in shape, and they have fuck all knowledge on how to do that. And dudes like you, that's a value added in my opinion.
Well, thanks, Pop. I appreciate that coming from you.
Well, it's absolutely necessary.
I mean, in all honesty, I don't want to do the online thing forever. I also want to be able to like function still in like the real world too, because you're gonna need that. Like online alone, it's isolating. I don't like that.
No, here's another thing. You're doing this administrative job to pay the bills because you have to do it, right?
That too, and I like having that rhythm, sort of say.
I gotcha.
Structure. You want structure.
The structure and things like that. And like work myself up a bit, maybe like become the...
But this is the big difference between men and women when it comes to the professional world. And this might piss a lot of people off, but it's absolute truth. Men do what they have to do. Women do what they want to do.
Dude, I don't get what I want to do. I don't get what I want to do. Like, I don't have 2 million in the bank or whatever. You need to do what's available and what you're good at.
And women can't make that jump. I can't tell you how many videos I see on TikTok. Oh, I have to work 8 hours.
And they have a car you and I would never drive in with like a roof window or whatever. You think like, how the hell did you get that car if you're like that hesitant to work? Like, what's going on here?
It's worse if you have immigrant parents, because my parents were just like, yeah, we did what we had to do, and your mom did what she had to do, and here you are, first world, chilling. And I was like, yeah, Mom, check out these girls. They get to work for 8 hours and they're suffering. Look at them.
And look, I'm going to use the same line I used in divorce court. If these women are really hard up for cash, they can have a side gig. They can suck 6 dicks on a Saturday, and they'll be just fine.
Pay rent
they do, though. Isn't that they did the economics of it, and like Pareto principle, 80% of them don't even make like rent off of that. So it's literally like, hey, I've ruined my romantic prospects, and I'm not even a successful porn star.
Well, from what I've seen is that they go under contract for these OF managers, and then 90% of them quit. Because first off, when it comes to content, like adult content, there's like anti-pimp laws, and if a girl wants to quit, she can quit whenever she wants. And number two, they start getting calls from family, friends, ex-boyfriends, or whatever. Hey, you slut! What are you doing? Like, you can't do this. So they all quit. 90% of them quit the first like.
See, I want to feel bad for that, but like, look at our space, Red Pill space. Whammon ain't shit. Fuck, we get the same people in our life telling you, "What are you doing, Terrence? You can't talk to women like that."
I did it all the time.
You didn't quit.
And even in the military, I would tell women who are my rank or lower to fuck off all the time. I got called into the carpet a few times, and they're like, well, he tells everyone to fuck off. It's not like it's a woman thing. I mean, I'll be doing something, people will fuck with me like, hey, fuck off! Come back in 10 minutes.
And there's women that turns them on. That's another problem. Like, there's women, like I did firefighting in the Navy too, and there was this girl who they made her my number one hoseman, right? Like, you get this heavy ass
phrasing. I'm gonna have to give you a homo suspicion point for hose man.
But you know those fireman nozzles are so. Oh my god, this is gonna sound bad.
Yeah.
He's talking about a
Fireman
nozzle now. Nozzles and hoses.
And she could barely carry it. Oh my god, it just gets worse. But she could barely carry it, right? And one day I just told her to like, hey, either you're gonna fucking hold this or you're gonna go to the back, or I'm gonna, like get the fuck out because I'm tired. And that was like deep from because I was so scared of like telling women off because military. And yeah, I got a Facebook request that day. She wanted to hang out that weekend. I was like, damn, a lot of them just join the military because they just want somebody to just put them in their place, but not worth the risk. Not at all.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's not.
Nope.
Yeah, there's some women
that's so funny.
They sit there and will look you in the face and go, I hate masculine men. But the minute you're like doing something, you look over and you go, why are you not fucking running? They get wet. I don't get it.
Yeah. It's
I think it's like guys how we're like we don't like crazy women, but we always end up with crazy women. I think we like to tell ourselves these things and lie to ourselves so we can sleep at night.
Well, we like investment. Like crazy is investment, I guess.
Listen,
Yeah.
crazy.
Well, that's
pussy,
the genuine desire line.
Yeah.
Crazy pussy is the best pussy.
Mm.
Yeah.
Nothing is
Enthusiastic.
going to do cheetah backflips on your peg D better than a piece of crazy slot C. But after about 2 years, when the slot C wears out, then you're stuck with crazy, and that is not fun.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Tale as old as time.
One chick used to do that for our buddy. She would send photos, like nude photos of him in every deployment, not knowing that the way our system was set up is that we only had like a small connection. So they would jam up our servers with her tits on there. And so we'd like go into the system, pull it up, like, what is causing all of this traffic? And then all of a sudden a big set of jugs coming at us. We're like, hey, Jay, is this your girl? He's like, fuck. She would hide out in the bushes she would know his sailing schedule and shit. It was crazy. I'm actually surprised he didn't knock her up. He ended up knocking up an officer.
Yeah, I have
And
a
then she
couple
was one of
guys
those-
who
Yeah.
watch my show who literally play my videos in the submarines.
Really?
I was told
That's
that
awesome.
I think it's the night shift on the sub. I don't know how the whole thing goes. And like, yeah, we just throw your shit up and we laugh for our whole ship and just listen to your shit. So
Yeah.
Can't take
I'm
a shower,
honored.
but we're going to watch a pop video come hell or high water.
Yeah. I downloaded a whole bunch of books for my deployment. The Manipulated Man, I think one of the Rolo books and all that shit. And yeah. A lot of guys in the military watch this stuff. You'd be surprised. Like a lot of my buddies found my content and they're just like, hey, it's pretty good. Thanks. And I was like, you don't think I'm weird or anything? He's just like, no, it makes sense. And I'm like, oh,
Dude,
hey,
you'd be
don't ever
surprised.
tell anyone else. Don't tell anyone else.
Dude, you'd be surprised. I had this kid at work, 19-year-old guy, and just a normal conversation with him. And he's like, yeah, I wanna go to college and blah blah blah. I'm like, okay, why do you want to go to college? He's like, well, I'm eager to learn. And I look at him like, what are you eager to learn about?
Yeah.
And he just fell silent. Nobody asks guys like the normal questions, the questions that need to be asked. So when you hand them a book or like say something that they've never been asked before or that has an answer that they really want, they don't think you're weird. They're fucking thanking you. Where it's like, oh, damn, I've been looking for this. You're like, shouldn't your teacher or dad tell you this? Not some 33-year-old who says women ain't shit online. It's like, oh, okay, apparently.
Where we're the new father figures, apparently, because
Fuck, no. No.
even if we don't want to be, you know, like, yeah.
I ain't your daddy. I ain't your daddy.
I've
First time
accepted
I got a
that
text.
role.
Oh,
I've accepted that role of being the old dude, the old grizzled veteran who says, hey, unfuck yourself. That's some bullshit right there.
dude,
Yeah,
first time I got a
he-
text. Why are you on a live stream with Rolo Tomasi? I had a fucking panic attack.
Oh, yeah, I know that feel.
I got
Yeah,
recognized
but-
on my street
Oh, Jesus.
right
I
here.
got recognized at
I
the
was
grocery store
walking,
once.
and I
That's it. That's
was
sweet.
terrified. Yeah, I was
That's my house.
terrified.
Yeah, just panic attack.
Jesus. Yeah.
I should have been
I
a.
get recognized all the time. I don't care.
Well, yeah, we're still young pups. I've only been at this like 3-4 years, and Nuke's.
I
been
just
at it for
started 1
4
year.
years.
Yeah, it's been 1 year for me, so I don't
15
know.
years in.
I
There's
had
a lot of-
two 06 colonels
Jeez.
investigate me because I was doing this while I was still on active duty. One
Uh-huh.
from public affairs and one from the IG. And the
What,
guy
you think
from
you
the
were doing, selling
IG,
this to the Russians?
No, they come in there like, what's going on, Sergeant Pop, with this whole YouTube channel thing? And I'm like, look, I don't talk bad about the administration. I don't talk bad about the Army or the military in general. This is just basically my therapy. And he goes, stop right there, Sergeant. I can sell therapy. And that was it. They just left.
That's funny. So all he needed to do was like something plausible. Like, I have to check this box.
No, I mean, we bullshitted for like an hour talking about different stuff. And he was a good dude.
Hey, your ex-wife's a cunt too. Mine was as well. Hey, buddy. Bonding.
I'll get the coffee.
Dude, I do gotta say though, like being back in normie office world, it's like women can't stand men bonding. They just can't. I was
Really
like, there was what was it? Some guy played Magic the Gathering and some other guy as well, and they just started talking, blah blah blah. I'm like, men are so fucking easy and blah blah blah. And then I chipped in with a different card game and blah blah blah. And of course, like the girls were already making the gay jokes and blah blah blah. Well, can you at least pay attention and yada yada? It's like, Jesus Christ, you wouldn't allow us to have fun, would you? You just
they already fucked up the Boy Scouts.
Oh yeah,
I saw that.
Yeah.
Letting the girls in there. Well, we got back at them. We got Woman Plus now joining the swim team. So we're even.
And here's
Whoever
another
taught
thing.
me that, to call them Women Plus now, it's the best euphemism I've ever heard.
Well, this is just my opinion and my observation, but the women of today have been brainwashed by feminism to be third string men.
wow.
They don't even get to play in the
high,
game. They're just sitting on the bench.
You get to be the kicker.
Yeah. No, that's an actual job.
I don't know how to take it. I guess the way we've taken it before is just, you narrow your world down to what you can control. In this case, the woman in front of you, if she likes you, she'll do things to make you happy. And if she doesn't, then, good luck to you. Few and far between, judging by how many women we all have around here long term. I got one. Terrence took 7 years, found sort of one. Jack, I don't even know if you're dating anybody or just like kicking to the curb after every time. And Nuke, all I see is the girls on Twitter yelling at you and then DMing you asking for your digits. So what the fuck do I know?
Yeah, I took the 7-year hiatus.
Yeah,
You learn a lot about yourself when you take the 7-year hiatus. There's a reason why the number 7 is in the Bible as much as it is. And in fact, all of the cells in your body will be completely renewed every 7 years. And towards the end, like the 6, between 5 and 7 on the hiatus, I'm literally like, do I really miss this? Not really. I think I'm going to load another 500 rounds of some rifle ammunition.
Nice. If I can keep a 7-year hiatus, I will be 40 if I come out of it. If I can keep up this appearance, I don't think I would be doing too bad at 40. But maybe then I wouldn't want it anymore.
So I told my girl, like, this is it. I'm not leaving you for another woman. I'm leaving you for no woman if that happens. So
that feel.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know Terrence is like, oh, I have 3 dogs, but don't worry, she would never dare kill them, so I think I'm safe, at least on that front.
Yeah, and at my age, you guys are going to run into this phenomenon called the slingback effect. I did a couple videos on this. But at every year, I will get 3 to 5 DMs in Facebook. Hey, how you doing? I was just thinking about you. What's going on? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, no, I'm good. Sorry.
I had that at the high school reunion. A lot of the girls wouldn't give me the time of day. I couldn't remember anybody, and they're like, "Wow, I found out they did a dossier with the Facebook scouring. I saw you did this thing in April. That was amazing." And I'm like, "Yeah, slingback's true. It's true." That was only
totally happens.
When is that? I guess that was at like a 37, 38. Yeah.
And here's another good one.
Next decade.
A good maneuver. If you're in a bar and you run into an ex and she tries to chat you up, you literally are hanging on your beer. You're facing her, and you slowly just turn away, and they go fucking nuts, man.
I can do one better on this one. I've had this. In my first book, Fuck Files, I talked about the single mom that got the fake boobs and that. There was a horrible one in bed, treating me like shit. I went back when she got her fake tits done. She ended up marrying one of my students. when I was at fleet school. I didn't know about this, and they were just chucking shit. We're doing his security clearance for his level 3, and he writes down the name of his wife, and he's like, "Yeah, it's this name." And I go, "That's crazy. I knew a girl who had that same name. It's a very rare name." And then a couple other guys in the bullpen are like, "Oh yeah, she was so much fun," and we're all talking like the get around girl, right? And he goes, yeah, that's my wife." And then I have never seen a department with like 40 sailors drop so quiet in my life. And of course, you can't keep it secret. We didn't say nothing, but of course, there's one guy getting chewed out in the hall that heard that, and now, "Hey, what's it feel like to know your instructor banged your wife?" Fuck you guys. Ran into her at the course party at the strip club, and she had gained some weight since then. Unlike that, the beer one, I was happy to see her. "Hi, it's so good to see you. Have a seat. We'll catch up." She actually did the beer thing to turn around. Greatest moment of my life up to that point.
I mean, the
And
best
then the worst
revenge
part
is
is
the
the
better
husband.
life. Oh,
Oh no, I felt it had some badness to it too, though, because I knew she was like the worst girl in bed ever. Like 30 seconds, and she's doing the bacon dance, and that's it. It's done. So literally the worst. And so there was a moment where he and I kind of looked at the eye, and he's like, "Does he know what she's?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I know what she's like." And he's like, "Oh." You can't put it into words, but that little look, and we kind of shared that moment. I feel really bad for him. I don't know what he's up to now. Hopefully they have some more kids. Fucking ordinary seaman, single mom, in the military. Like, how many more red flags do you need?
That's right.
Yeah. But yeah, so next time it happens, I promise I'll ignore them. But until then, I'm just like, "Hey, let's shoot the shit. Let's talk about old times."
yeah, but I mean, with you just know where it's like, oh, he's fucking with me. So
Yeah.
I mean, you would go head first in that.
That is my favorite thing in life, is to like fuck with somebody, but everybody knows you're fucking with them except for them. If you can pull that off, oh, it's glorious.
Well, you can also
The alternative is I turn into Terrence and buy another sword, and I don't have any room.
or you could do retribution coitus.
Ooh, revenge. Yeah, not with that one. Like I said, worst one ever. Worst.
I gotcha.
If she was a 10 in the sack, maybe.
Well, that's another thing like men have a problem with, and let's just be honest. A lot of guys out there don't really get a chance to hit the poon, so they always show up and they just are willing to throw around the 10 dick. Listen, if you meet a woman at a bar, she's a 5, you give her the 5 dick, then you don't get a stalker. If she's a 5 and you give her the 10 dick, guess what? You got a stage 10 clinger on your hands, man.
All right. You're mistaken our audience for a switched on audience like that. They don't know what 10 dick is.
It's like you show up and you give the best performance of your life. You don't do that on a woman who's a 5. I'm sorry.
Come on, you thirsty bastards. Do you even know what he means? Do you have to learn this the hard? You have to learn this the hard way. Here's your Terrence Pop seal of learning this the hard way, like everybody else. Oh, look at this. Women's expression change so quickly when they start bonding. So I hope you guys don't mind. We got to wind it down. We're almost at the 2 hour. Terrence, I think I speak for everybody past, present on this thing. Thank you so much. Not just for your time here, but like for everything over the past, was it 10, 12 years now?
It's more like we started 2000. It's like 15 years.
Jesus fucking Christ. But yeah, just heartfelt thank you, man. I don't know.
Cool,
Nuke, Jack, what do you guys got to say? And then we'll let Pop lead us
Dude,
out.
what else can I say but thank you? It's like, in all honesty, man, like your work speaks for itself. It's like, thanks for everything. And thanks for coming on, man, that we could sit here with you, shooting the shit. This was fucking interesting. This was fun.
Yeah, I mean, I have no problem coming back on with you guys. You guys don't seem to be turbo assholes, so it's all good.
Yet.
Yeah, yet.
Well, we are to retards online. We are kind of assholes, but they deserve it. So
yeah.
It's all good,
right,
man.
so yeah, Terrence. Oh, sorry, Nuke. I cut you off. Go ahead.
It's all good. Terrence, yeah, it's just nice to see somebody that's convincing young men they aren't crazy, that they're allowed to make observations and at least give them some tools. I needed these tools. Luckily, I read Rational Male in 2014, and I had a masculine dad to warn me a lot, so I got spared, right? And a lot of my friends didn't get spared. They went crazy. They lost a lot in their lives, and I got a front seat to all of it. I had to support my friends through their divorces and stuff, and that's dirty work, to help your friends. It's very rewarding to see them come back and all that, but it's dirty work. So, You know,
Yes, it is.
what can I say? Yeah, what can I say? I wish there was more Terrence Pops out there, but there's only one. So thanks, man.
I think I'm the only dude on the planet who's consistently using comedy to try to stop men from ventilating their thinking meat or starting a shotgun.
Yeah, the fart noises are amazing, by the way. I was laughing. Those are my favorite. Not to water down your content, but when I heard that fart noise this morning, I was just like, Jesus Christ, this is awesome.
Well, I did a whole like Christmas song of farts a couple years back.
Yeah, I'll find it. Don't worry, I'll find it.
It's called jingle smells or something.
That's what I'm saying. You can't take this RP stuff too seriously, but you need to incorporate it seriously. But like you can't, you can't
take it seriously, not literally. That's the biggest problem with a lot of people. They take everything so literally. Like, no, take it seriously, not literally, and be like Pop. Have some humor in it.
Yeah, relax.
Like
have some fun with it.
Like during my 33 years in the service, I, on quite a few occasions, got put in charge of doing funerals for guys. And that's incredibly negative. So I literally would, I refer to them as dirt darts. And I'm like, we got 3 dirt darts this weekend, and that's just the way it is. And you got to do, or you go fucking crazy.
Yeah, that's how it was. Yeah, we make suicide jokes all the time, Like we would say, hey, life is only as long as you want it to be. But, we had to do something because we were so beat down.
And listen, if you're a dude, actually this applies to anyone. If you're living out there and you're lost in the fucking sauce, buy my goddamn book, The Warrior's Way and the Soldier's Soul. Because that is the source of the power behind the words that I use to save all these people.
Which, by the way, guys, it's the pinned comment in the things here, and I'm also going to put it in the description. As well as Redonkulous, that's his YouTube channel. I don't have your Rumble links, but where else is there to get for you?
If you go to Rumble or if you go to YouTube and you just do a search for redonkulous.com or my name, Terrence Pop, it all pops up.
Yeah.
I'll get the links there. So I guess for you guys, also, Ross the Skunk, $10 super chat, a heartfelt fuck you and knife hand to Terrence. Is a running joke with this, so I'll explain it off camera. And I have a question for you guys. I was going to leave with some humor. Which ad should I show to lead us out?
Check him with pennies.
One, the Pat Stedman one, or the Erudite one?
Erudite.
What do you think?
Put on Erudite. I'm sure Terrence Pop, whatever annoys Terrence Pop the most.
Oh, perfect. All right. Here you go. Nasty woman.
So I used to be a pretty strong feminist. I've actually become a feminist again. Feminists, though, can be some of the worst people you'll ever meet. They can be like some of the most nasty. They'll take advantage of contradictory world values, right? Worldview, which is that like I'm talking about like psychology and mental health for men, and yet I'm in a field that like is overly feminized and shoving drugs down men's throat. And I'm like, I'm still recommending it because I don't want to lose like the baby out with the bathwater. Just because not all therapists are well trained to work with men. Just because a lot of therapists might even be biased against particularly like incel type men. If they hear misogynistic language at all, they might like shut you down. So and it was just difficult because I didn't want to be like super like nasty and mean or anything.
I forgot that.
Look how glazed over
like
my eyes were